Mix and break even analysis for both model number 94 and model 81. So we have Hughes Company has fixed costs of $3,565,000. Their unit selling price, variable cost per unit, contribution margin is listed below for both of these products. All right, so it's asking us to determine the break even in units of model number 94 and model 81 of the overall total product E. All right, so it's very similar to what we did in our prior example. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to switch applications to do this particular problem, okay? So what I have already set up is our table, very similar to what we did in a prior video. So we're going to take model number 94 and model number 81, and we're going to transform them into one big product, which is product E. Remember, product E doesn't really exist. We're just trying to combine both of these into one product so we can understand what the break even is for both, okay? All right, so let's start off with the selling price of model number 94. So it says that a model 94, the selling price is $1,600, right? And then we need to multiply that times the sales mix. Now, as you read through the problem, the sales mix for both model number 94 and 81 is here, 25% and 75%, respectively. So for us, we're gonna take this $1,600 in selling price times the 25%, okay? And then we're gonna do the same thing for, well, what we can do is, so then we're going to do the same thing for model number 81. The selling price for model number 81 is $1,000, right? 1,000. And the sales mix for this one, based on the total sales of both products, is they sell 75% of this one, okay? So now from here, what we're going to do is multiply them out, but then add them all here, because then that becomes the unit selling price of product E, right? So if I did that, 1,000 times 75%, that comes out to $750. And if I did $1,600 times 25%, that comes out to $400. So if I add them all across, my selling price is now $1,150 for product E. Now we're going to do the same thing for variable, our variable cost. So for model number 94, our variable cost is here $960. So I'm going to do $960 times the 25% sales mix, right? And then we're going to do the same thing for model number 81. The variable cost is $800 times the 75% in sales mix. And then that's how we're going to do it. All right, so then if I did the calculation, 800 times 75%, that comes out to $600 here. And then if I did $960 times the 25% in sales mix, that's $240. And then once I add both of these numbers up, my unit variable cost for product E comes out to $840. Now, what you could do from here is just simply do the math, or you can come up with the contribution margin per unit. Now, I'll go ahead and go through the math for you so you guys can get an understanding of it. But here, if I did the quick math, my unit contribution margin should be 310. So let's test this out. So our unit contribution margin for model number 4 comes out to $640. And I need to multiply that times the 25%. And then my unit contribution margin for model number 81 is 200, and I need to multiply that times 75%. So once I did the calculation, do 200 times the 75%, that comes out to 150. And then 640 times the 25% for sales mix, that's 160. So if I add those two together, again, my number should come out to 310, which it does, okay? Now from here, what we are now going to do is now come up with our formula for break even in terms of units for product number E. Now, let's not forget the way we come up with our break even. We have a formula, right? And that formula is our fixed cost divided by our unit contribution margin. Now, when we do this, we're looking at the unit contribution margin for E, okay? So our fixed cost, as they defined it here, was this number. It is $3,565,000 divided by our unit contribution margin, which is the $310. Now, once we did this calculation, which I'm going to do right now, 3,565,000 divided by 310. Our break even in terms of units for product E, our fictitious unit, is 11,500 units. Now from here, we need to make sure we do a breakdown of how does that fit here. So how many units of, so how many units of break even or is for model number 94, and what's the break evens for model number 81. Now this again is where our percentages come into play. This 25% for model 94, and then we have 75% for model number 81. Right? So we're going to use those numbers to now calculate what is our break even in terms of units, right? How does this 11,500 break out between model number 94 and then model number 81, all right? So model number 4, the way we're going to do that is we're going to take the 11,500 units times its sales mix, which is 25%, right? And so once we did that calculation, 11,500 times the 25%, that comes out to their break even is 2,875 in units. And then we're going to do the same thing for model number 81. We're going to take the 11,500 units and we're going to multiply that times the 75% in the sales mix. So 11,000. And you should come up with 8,625,000 units. And that is how we calculate the break even in terms of units. So yes, it's a lengthy process, but that's how we go about it, right? So you have this company, they want to know their break even, but more specifically, they want to know by product, what is their break even? And using a sales mix and this information, we were able to calculate what is the break even for model number 94 and model number 81.